Hey everybody, this is Nick from Horsemen Comics and Gaming of Morgantown, and I'm coming with you today with a CGC unboxing video. That's right, we have 32 books that were submitted to CGC for something called a pre-screen submission. So the way that a pre-screen works is that you pick out the books that you want to submit, and you actually tell CGC, the comic book grading company, what grade you would like them to encapsulate the books in. So if you submit one of these books and CGC determines that it does not meet that grade, they're not going to put it in the plastic slab. They're not going to assign it an actual grade. They're just determining whether the book that you submit meets the threshold that you've identified. And if it does, they'll grade the book and charge you the grading fee. If it doesn't, they'll send the book back as a reject. So we kind of scoured the shop for what we thought were some pretty cool submissions and ones that we thought would meet the threshold of a pre-screen 9.8. If you are familiar with comic book grading, 9.8 is really kind of that top threshold that you can expect to get. There are 9.9 and 10 books. They are very few and far between, and a book really has to be very pristine straight off of the printer in order to get those grades. So 9.8 is really considered sort of like that top mark for most books, and so that's what we set this pre-screen to be. So I have two boxes over here. The fact that they sent these books back in two boxes rather than their standard one box for 25 books tells us that we have some successful results here, but I don't know that we hit on everything. I'm going to open these boxes up. We've already cut them, but we're going to unbox them now and just kind of see what it is that they rejected and what it is that we got encapsulated in a slab. Now, there's not going to be any mystery about what these slabs are when I hold them up. If you've ever watched CGC unboxings before, sometimes people will cover up the little grade label and make it sort of a mystery and then reveal it. We know these are all going to be 9.8s if they're in a slab because that's what we told CGC to do as part of this pre-screen. So without further ado, I'm going to dig into this box and we're going to see what we've got. Now, CGC was very nice and sent us a little Gemini mailer with some raw books that did not make the cut. So we're going to open those up and see some of the things that we submitted that we thought had 9.8 potential, but for whatever reason, the CGC said, no, there's something going on here that maybe did not meet the threshold for a 9.8. All right, so we're removing some stuff here, and all right, I've got some notes on the table to help me remember everything about these books in case I might forget, but otherwise, I think we're good to go. One of the things that we submitted that we were hoping may hit that 9.8 is this book right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 55. This is a Patrick Gleason cover. And these Spider-Man books, particularly these variants of number 55, were all really cool because the webbed Spider-Man outline was in different colors based on the printing. So this is the second print. It's that nice, gorgeous red color. And we weren't quite sure if this one would hit that 9.8. It's really hard to get these comics that have black covers, a lot of black area, in a high grade because any type of defect or crease or bend or spine tick is going to show up a lot more on a black cover like this. But this one looked pretty good. We thought we'd submit it. Didn't quite make the cut. Next, I'm kind of sad to see that this one didn't make the cut. I love this cover so much. This is Timeless number 1, and this is the Miss Minutes variant. This artwork was done by Humberto Ramos. And this is the first cover appearance of the Miss Minutes character from the Loki Disney Plus TV show. And again, it's another situation where it's one of these deep black covers. So any type of imperfection is a little bit easier for their graders to see. It looked really nice to us when we took a look at it, but there must have been something that stood out to them. We'll look that over and see what that might be. Up next is Moon Knight number 5. This is an Arthur Adams cover, I believe. And this is a 1:25 ratio variant of issue number 5. Really cool cover. Again, you might be noticing the pattern. We got a lot of black on this cover, which means it's going to be a little bit tougher to get in that high grade. But, you know, we were hoping for the best. It looked pretty clean to us. Just didn't quite make the cut. The next book on here I really like. This is Spider-Man number 1. This is a Brian Michael Bendis book. And I believe it is the first meeting of Peter Parker and Miles Morales in a comic. So here we have them both on the cover, a really cool cover. And we were hoping that maybe this one would hit that 9.8, just didn't quite make the cut. Now, I'm going to hold up 5 of the same book because as we were digging through back issues here at Four Horsemen, we found a gold mine of Hawkeye #1. Hawkeye #1, this is the first Kate Bishop solo series, and really a topical book in terms of the Disney Plus Hawkeye show that just came out at the end of last year. And we submitted a lot of these books. So the fact that we've only got 5 of them here in the reject pile tells me that a number of the graded books in the box over here beside me are probably going to be that Hawkeye book, which is really exciting. That's a cool book to have in a 9.8. Next is an X-Men #4, 1:25 ratio variant. This particular artist is Declan Shalvey. And again, it's one of these ratio variants that we thought, gosh, that would be really cool if we could get that in a 9.8. Just love that cover art with the full team lineup from this particular run. But they must have flagged something on there. And the last book in our box of rejected issues is this copy of Carnage #1. This is a Simone Bianchi variant, and it is another one of those 1:25 ratio variants. A lot of the books that we submitted were these 1:25 ratio variants, just because it's cool when you are able to order enough and get those particular ratio variants to send them in and get them encapsulated. So they must have seen a little bit of an issue on that particular one. That's it for the rejected issues, which means everything else now that you're going to see is going to come from the box of slabbed, encapsulated, graded books at a 9.8. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab a couple here out of the box, and we'll go to it. Like I said, when we were opening up the raw books that came back from CGC, we submitted a number of these Hawkeye #1s, and here's one of them. Again, this is the first solo series that features Kate Bishop in that lead role, and gosh, that book just looks really great in that plastic CGC slab. So we've got one of those. We've got a second one of those. We're going 3 of these slabs. So listen, if you've wanted to own a graded copy of this book, this is your opportunity to do so. We've got a 4th one. I'm not going to bother taking these out of the bag to show you something you've already seen that first time around, but you can tell just how many of these copies we found squirreled away, waiting for just this type of moment. And we've actually already sold a number of raw copies of this previously when the Hawkeye show was coming out. So, you know, there were more books that we had for this particular title that did not get submitted, that had already been sold, because we knew people were excited about that show. But now we've got a lot of copies of this particular graded book. This is a great book to buy here soon, knowing that the price right now is cooling off a little bit now that the Hawkeye show is over, but we know you don't cast an actress like Haley Steinfeld if you're not going to feature her in some more Marvel properties, specifically any type of Young Avengers team-up coming in. So this will be a great book to add to your collection. Okay. So one of the reasons that we were able to get that nice 1:25 variant of X-Men #4 is because that particular issue was also the issue that featured the Marvel Masterworks Joe Jusko variant covers. And as a huge Cyclops fan, you can tell by the shirt, I submitted a number of these X-Men #4 Joe Jusko Marvel Masterpiece variants. These covers are based on Joe Jusko's Marvel Masterpiece trading cards back from the early 90s. And if you remember from following us at the time, there were all sorts of Marvel Masterpiece covers that were part of this series across a lot of different Marvel titles. I want to say there were like 20 or 22 different variant covers that utilized this artwork. It's such a cool piece of artwork, and as a big Cyclops fan, I ordered just a couple of extra copies of this, hoping that some of them would come back in a 9.8. And you guessed it, not one, not two, but three of those covers came back in a 9.8, which I'm really thrilled about. My wife's probably going to be a little less thrilled about that, considering those will be maybe coming home with me. But yeah, absolutely a cool cover series to collect if you're into those covers. Just going to pull a couple more out here so we can go pretty quickly. Oh, this is a cool cover. Justice League number 75. This is a very recent book. This was billed as the death of the Justice League, which a lot of people kind of scoffed at and said, oh, this is just a ploy to get people to rush out and buy comics. Those people may be right. However, this is the 1 in 25 ratio variant of Justice League number 75. This is a Simone DeMeo ratio variant. And believe it or not, we ordered 25 or so copies of Justice League 75, and I think they're all gone. So, people can criticize ploys to get customers to come out and buy comics from publishing companies, but darn it, it worked in this case because that book had trouble staying on our shelf. And I think that title even went back into second printing. So people were excited about that story and to see where it went. Our next cover is, I really love this cover, and if you're not reading Tom Taylor's Superman, Son of Kal-El number 5, you should really think about it. It's been really fantastic. This is issue number 5. This is the issue where John Kent, the Superman of this particular title, it's revealed in this issue that he is bisexual. So this is a cover of him and his significant other, his boyfriend, and this was one of those DC Pride covers. You can see it over there on the side of the cover. And this was one of the special covers that they announced for that particular printing. Very cool book and very great series if you're not reading it already. They're doing a lot of cool things in that book. The next one is one that we really kind of came out of nowhere. This is Batman Beyond the White Knight number 1. Now, the reason I say this book kind of came out of nowhere in terms of its popularity is there were some issues with this title, in particular this main cover, being released on time by DC. I think in particular we received our variant covers for this the week that it was supposed to come out. And the main cover here, we did not receive that first week. And a lot of stores must have been in that same boat because there was a lot of fear of missing out style buying of cover A's in those first few weeks because it seemed like there was a shortage of them at first as stores didn't receive them. We got ours a week later and they flew off the shelf almost immediately, but we were able to snag what we thought was a really nice looking copy. And boy, that turned out really cool. That's just really great cover art on that particular book. Next, we have another 1 in 25 ratio variant. This is Strange number 1. This is the new miniseries by Jed MacKay that features Clea in the role of Sorcerer Supreme. We knew that that was going to be a popular title because a lot of our Doctor Strange or Marvel mystical titles have been very popular. So this is no exception. We were able to order up to that 1 in 25 ordering threshold, which got us this really just beautiful cover with Clea there on the front. And so pleased to see that that turned out in a 9.8. This next variant cover is, I don't believe it's a ratio variant. I think it's just a cool one. This is Venom Lethal Protector number 1, and this is the Bill Sienkiewicz cover for this particular title. It is great. If you're a fan of Bill Sienkiewicz's artwork, then this is a cover that's probably speaking to you. Sienkiewicz has a very unique and I mean, when you see his artwork, you know exactly what it is. So this definitely falls into that realm, and really thrilled to see this come back at a 9.8. I know we have a lot of Symbiote fans and Venom subscribers who will be interested in that particular book. That's a good one. Let's see some other things that we've got coming out of the graded box. This is Thor number 20. So Thor number 20, this is part of the Donny Cates Thor run, and there's a lot of buzz about this book whenever it came out on release week. This is the first appearance of the God of Hammers character. Any first appearances for Marvel are always, they always get a lot of buzz because people are trying to jump on what is going to be the next character to appear in an MCU property. We know that if characters appear in TV or movie shows, then gosh, those first appearances really become more valuable. But this was a book that really we had a hard time keeping on our shelves. I think we even ordered some second print copies. We snagged one that we thought looked like a 9.8 contender, and really happy to see that it was. So if you're a Donny Cates Thor fan, that's something that might be up your alley. Speaking of Thor, we have Thor number 24. This issue comes just a couple of months after the one that you just saw. Thor number 24 is really cool. This is actually not just Donny Cates. This is a lot of different artists or writers. This particular cover was done by Dan Jurgens. This is the 1:25 ratio variant of Thor number 24. And this issue number 24 is a special issue in the sense that this is the 750th issue if you're counting by legacy numbers. So there have been 750 issues of Thor with this one coming in here. This is also an important issue because they dive into the origin of Beta Ray Bill. It's revealed in this book that Odin's life force is directly housed in Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. But this ratio, I mean, how this cover is just so cool. I love that he's standing on the Rainbow Bridge there. We've got all the lightning effects coming off of Thor. Just a really cool ratio variant to have encapsulated there. All right, let me dig a couple more out of this final box. They actually had to send us 2 boxes. Normally their boxes hold a total of 25 books, but they must have had to send everything in 2 boxes, which, hey, I'll take it. This next book is Moon Knight number 4, and this is the 1:25 Gabriel Delgado ratio variant. This Moon Knight series has been one of our hottest subscribed series. Getting to these 1:25 ratio variants when they're offered has not been much hardship on us in terms of ordering extra copies because we have a lot of Moon Knight subscribers, and we're adding more by the day after that really cool Disney Plus show. So we were able to snag some Moon Knight ratio variant covers, including this one here as well. This is a Martin Simmons cover for Moon Knight number 9. And again, it's another one of those 1:25 ratio variants. And this cover art, man, this is just spectacular. You've got Mr. Knight hanging out on that crescent moon iconography, and it is just a beautiful book, especially to get in 9.8, especially with so much dark, dead space around the outline of that particular part of the cover art. It is just a beauty. So that's another one that we got in a 9.8. Really cool book. This next one, I made a deal with Ron that if we ordered up to 50 copies of this particular book so that I could get this 1:50 ratio variant, that I would buy a number of those covers that we had to order. This is House of Slaughter number 1, the 1:50 Nice House on the Lake ratio variant. I am a big Something is Killing the Children fan, as you probably know from listening to our This Week in Comics videos. And I am also a big fan of James Tynan's other book, Nice House on the Lake. So whenever the House of Slaughter cover crossed over with the Nice House on the Lake cover homage artwork, I said this is a book that I have to have, and definitely thrilled to see that in a 9.8. Gosh, that's just a really, really cool cover. And speaking of cool covers, we have our last slabbed book. When this particular issue came into the store, we said, gosh, we have to submit this. This is too crispy and clean to not send off. This is Army of Darkness, 1979. It's from Dynamite Entertainment. They put out an Army of Darkness miniseries that was really fun and interesting. This is a variant cover that, believe it or not, is entirely metal. So if you look at those corners are not just sharp by comic book standards, but sharp by standards that you would use for your kitchen knives. This book is absolutely dangerous in every sense of the word. The cover art is fantastic. That was one of the reasons that that this book appealed to us so much. If you're an Evil Dead fan or an Army of Darkness fan, but the fact that it is a metal cover, man, those edges are crisp. I'm actually a little bit surprised that this didn't hit something like a 9.9 just because of how clean that metal cover is. You know, maybe they thought that the metal cover, because of the nature of it, they would not quite bump it up, but I don't know. 9.8 in that cover is really great, and I'm really happy to see that we were able to get that one in A. So thank you so much for making it all the way through this video if you've come this far. If you're interested in submitting your own collectibles to CGC to be graded, that's something that we can absolutely help with. We'll take a look at your comic. We'll give you our opinion. We can weigh whether or not the cost of having it graded is worth the value of what you're going to get out of it if you're intending on maybe trying to trade it or sell it. If it's something for your personal collection, you just want to get it preserved in that plastic slab, there's nothing wrong with that either. I do that a lot for some of the books that I really love. So definitely talk to us if that's something you're interested in. I appreciate you watching this and going on this unboxing journey with me. Love opening up stuff, particularly comics that come back in. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm Nick, and I'll see you at the Pool Box.